Go ahead.
Okay, so all of us in here have been going to school for 12, 13, 14 years, so we're all pretty familiar with the educational system that's most common, which is called the traditional education system. And this was originally developed for those people who worked on the farm when that was the basis of our culture. And you went to school all during the year, fall, winter, and spring, and then summers were a time to work on the farm and focus on your crops and help your family out in order to survive. But those instances aren't necessarily in play anymore, but we still tend to follow the traditional education system. So tonight I want to tell you about another educational option which has made great strides in the educational world across our country and is becoming more and more popular each year, and that is, yes, year-round schooling. But before you just disregard anything that I'm about to say, just listen. I want to tell you a little bit about how it's structured and why it's becoming more and more beneficial each year. First, it's split into, there's two different types. The first is multi-track, and according to Worsnop's article, this is very valuable when it comes to schools that deal with a lot of overcrowding. It's kind of more popular in California right now, and it splits the students into same-size groups, 3, 4, or 5 groups, and they each have a different class and vacation schedule. So you're able to use the same facility and not have quite as many students, reducing the overcrowding. And it also helps financially, because we know financially money is always a huge issue when it comes to education. And instead of having to put that money towards other schools and building more and more, they can put it towards the schools that the students are actually using and renovating the classrooms and keeping the schools updated with educational tools and that kind of thing. And it's also better for the student-teacher ratio. The students get more one-on-one time with the teachers because the class sizes are decreased. The next one is single track, and that's kind of what most people think of when they think of year-round schooling. Everyone tends to be on the same schedule, and it's mostly seen in high schools. The multi-track is seen more, according to Worsnop's article, in elementary schools, because that's kind of where you tend to see the overcrowdedness or more. So now that I've told you a little bit about year-round schooling, I'd like to address some of the issues and fears that people first think of when they hear the words year-round school. And when you talk to teachers and stuff, a lot of the articles I read, their main thing was that the planning period was shortened, not their planning period during the day, but the planning period throughout the summer. They don't have that whole summer to prepare for the next school year. But I tried to look up articles that dealt with like teachers that made the transition from traditional to year-round schooling. And there was one particular, and she was discussed about how teachers are organized individuals for the most part anyways, because they have to deal with grades and they have to deal with assignments and lesson plans and standardized course of studies. So Jackson, whose school transitioned I think a couple years ago, said that you just have to pace it appropriately. And she feels that the change to her school has really benefited her students and parents as well as teachers like herself. And the next fear is one of the most common ones. When you hear year-round schooling, people are always like, oh no, I don't get summer, we don't have our family vacation time, we don't have time outside, we can't go to the beach. But that's not the case. You do get your summer vacation. You can see in the charts below, the year-round schooling is on your right, and it's just a more balanced schedule. You have your 3 to 4 to 5 weeks, depending on where you are, in the summer, and then you get your fall break, which is another 2 or 3 weeks, your winter break, which is another 2, 3, sometimes 4 weeks, and then your spring break, which varies also. So it's just splitting up, and it helps students a lot. So you know, by the end of the year, when you were in elementary and middle and high school, you were just so tired you didn't even want to learn anymore. All you could do was go and just want to be for summer. You just turned off educationally and mentally with the traditional schedule. So the year-round schedule has really helped in that matter also. And it's not limiting your family time, because it's just spreading it out throughout the year instead of cramming it all into the summer months. You get the perks of summer, fun, pool, beach, all that fun stuff with the perks of fall and winter and spring. And there's enough time to travel and do whatever you want in those seasons also. And the last really main issue that you see a lot when you're talking about this topic is sports. People are afraid that their kids won't get to do all the sports. But according to Worsnop's article and the Education Digest, it talks about how the sports aren't actually harmed at all, and if anything, they're somewhat benefited, because the students start school in the year-round schedule in July, so it allows them time to adjust to their classes before their fall schedule actually starts. So that helps them so they're not all overwhelmed like they would be in the traditional school when everything starts at once. And also the more balanced schedule allows for the seasons to fit perfectly in each one of the grading periods. So like nowadays you have basketball and all your winter sports is split directly down the middle with the winter break. And it's just, I know personally, I was a swimmer and having to take those 2 weeks off because your coaches can't mandate that you go to practice. It's really hard to just stay in shape and like go and just keep up your cardio and that kind of thing. So it helps in that aspect too. And finally, I'd like to just tell you how it's been so beneficial and how it's helped students educationally and teachers. And the main thing is it eliminates the summer learning loss because you don't have that long summer break. Test scores were being taken at the end of school years in the beginning, and according to the Education Digest article, students were losing all sorts of spelling, math, and reading skills over the traditional summer. But because of the year-round schooling, the break is not quite as long. The students didn't have enough time to lose all that, and the review wasn't as extensive as it had to be in the traditional schedule. And it allows for intercession, which is something that students aren't required to do, but they can do. They can go on their breaks and take extra courses if they need a little help in math or reading, or even if they have stuff that's like hobby-based, so you can do like sports, or you can do photography, or you can do gardening, whatever like fits your interest. And it gives opportunities to people who don't necessarily get those opportunities, maybe financial reasons or that kind of thing. So it helps a lot of underprivileged kids also. And teachers enjoy it because they get a little extra pocket money that benefits them as well. It also helps the ESL and language students just like any other students because it's the consistent schedule. And you can see down here is just another pie chart of the how it's broken down. And the studies have shown that it's increased not only attendance because the students aren't wanting to like stop at the end of the year. They've already had the adequate amount of breaks, so they're continuing. They're still focused and turned on. But it also has increased grades and standardized test scores. And up here, it's a chart from. This is just from an area in Kentucky, but so it's not like a widespread thing. But it just shows like how even like it's smallly increasing and helping the students. So hopefully over time it'll eventually make that much of a difference across the country. But the blue is the traditional schooling and the gray is the year-round schooling. And you can just see in all subject levels that the level of proficiency on all the tests tend to be higher in every subject level. So in conclusion, I just want you to think, when you hear year-round schooling, don't panic and think, oh no, I don't get my summer, can't go on vacation, I don't get to go to the beach or spend time outside, because you do. You get your summer vacation and you get the perks of fall, winter, and spring all together. And it has, according to so many different studies, I wish I had enough time to show you, the academic scores have really increased. And if you don't take away anything, I want to leave you with this question. If year-round education were the traditional school calendar and had been so for 100 years or more, and if someone came along to suggest a new calendar where in school students were to be educated for only 9 months to each year, would the American public allow or even consider such a calendar?